We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Dipan. I said it right the first time on accident. I didn't see the spelling. I didn't see the phonetic thing there. Dipan. To start with, Dipan wrote us months ago when his theater was still in construction and he was trying to figure out his optimum screen size and projector placement. His theater has a 12-foot high ceiling. Are we showing pics of this? And he wanted to use a hush box near the back of the room to house the projector if possible. He ended up using a 150-inch diagonal, 130-inch wide, 16:9 screen instead of the 120-inch wide 2.35 to 1 screen he initially planned for the greater height of the screen, plus his JVC's RS500 projector's large lens shift range allowed for this setup to work. And he's enjoying the huge, beautiful picture. So he's happy. That's good. I'm glad that I don't know if we had anything to do with that, but I'm glad we did. His question. Chuns. Okay. This is a lot of words. Question 1 doesn't fit on one page, so here we go. Taking a deep breath. He bought a Dipan AVR X6200W and is running a 9.2.2 Atmos setup. He's using extremely sensitive, which are 99 dB per watt meter, DIY front LCRs and wide speakers with Niles in wall and ceiling speakers for all other positions. All 9 of the listener level speakers are being powered by the Dipan directly. The Atmos speakers are powered by a separate crown amplifier. Now, when he first started using the system, he had a very noticeable hum/buzz. It was always present and seemed worse when using AirPlay. Surprisingly, none of the buzz/hum was coming from his front or wide speakers. Even though they're extremely sensitive, he could put his ear right next to their tweeters and they were dead silent. The buzz/hum was mostly coming from the surrounds and surround back speakers, but there was also, to a lesser extent, coming from his Atmos speakers and subwoofers. Just some googly, he tried disconnecting his cable TV line from his cable box. The hum, buzz completely disappeared from his subwoofer and Atmos speakers and got way quieter from his surround and surround back speakers, although it was still present, but only noticeable when the system was sitting idle and not playing anything. He attached a ground loop isolator to his cable TV line, and the situation remained the same, which means no noise from anything except the surround and surround back speakers, and the noise from those is only audible when the system is idle. So, what could explain this? What could be the cause? Okay, the Atmos. Let me scroll back up here. So, first of all, okay,
Interference is essentially the short answer.
Right, that's what we know that. But okay, so ground loops. For those of you that aren't aware of this, if you have sometimes cable, when you plug your cable into your cable box, literally the cable into your cable box, you'll get a hum through your system. It's called a ground loop. It happens all the time. There's ground loop isolators that you can add that will eliminate that. People will come to me and come to Rob and come to everybody and say, I got this hum, I can't get rid of it. Unplug your cable from your cable box. I unplugged the cable box. No, that's not what I said. I did not say unplug the cable box. I said unplug the cable from the cable box. I unplugged the cable box. It doesn't help. Unplug the cable from the cable box. Just do it. Just do what I say. Just do it. I understand. I plugged the cable from the cable box. The cable box wasn't even plugged in, and the sound went away. It's a ground loop. It's all right, dude. Don't worry about it. Just get that ground loop isolator. You're good to go. So this happens, but he's still experiencing some sound from these back speakers. Now, the important thing to note here is that the back speakers are being powered by the Dipan, as well as all the rest of the speakers that are on the ground. The Atmos speakers are being powered by the crown. My next thought when I first was reading this question was it's coming from the crown, but it's not coming from the crown because the crown isn't powering those speakers, because I thought they were powering those speakers. So we are getting some interference here, and there's a number of different places. One of the things that I would worry about at this is something in the way he ran his speaker wires, or the way the speakers wires were run, has them running parallel to power lines, power wires.
Or at least just running across them somewhere and not like just at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
And
So
it might not be 100% parallel, but it's
I
lying over some power line somewhere.
There's something high power that's going on here, and that is creating interference that's leaching into your speaker wires. That's my number one guess.
Yeah,
that's what's.
I mean, what was
here.
interesting was that his front speakers, which are the most sensitive speakers, so if you're picking up a noise and amplifying it, you would expect those to be worse than any of them. Those have been silent the entire time. So that's a pretty clear indication that I don't think your Denon is the problem. Doesn't certainly not all of them anyway. And given the way that this one is designed, where they actually separate, like they put all the left channel amplifiers on one side of the chassis and all the right channel amplifiers on the other side of the chassis.
Right.
It's pretty unlikely that it's anything inside that Denon, because you had all 5 of your front speakers were silent. They were fine. So however the speaker wire was run for those ones weren't going up against any power lines, but I think your surround and surround back speakers were. And I still are. So I would bet that you don't have audio devices connected everywhere in your house, but I bet somewhere else in your house you have another ground loop. You don't know it because you don't have an audio device attached to those outlets, but I think you have another ground loop somewhere else in your house, and your surround and surround back speaker wires happen to be running close enough to those power lines that it's picking up that noise. I think that's what's going on. Your speaker wires are essentially acting as antennas for interference running through some of the power lines in your house. That seems like the most likely culprit. We can't say 100% certain that's what it is, but from what you've described, I think that's the situation.
Yeah. So what's the solution? He should go around and try to unplug all the cables from all of his cable boxes, I guess. I mean, that's...
Yeah,
there's something going on there.
I mean, I'm assuming that this was a bespoke theater. I think all these wires are run inside the walls.
It's done. Yeah, if you see the pictures, this thing's done. He's not going to get in the wall to fix this thing.
What you could do as a troubleshooting measure would be to temper it. Now, his surround and surround back speakers are in walls, so even this isn't a simple thing. But there should be a way to access the back of those speakers without completely dismantling your theater. Most in-wall speakers, you just have to undo some of the latches, and you can remove it from the wall.
Do that.
Just as a troubleshooting measure, I would try to run a speaker wire from your Denon through your theater, so well away from any of the walls, to at least one of your surround speakers, and see if that's still happening. Because we can't say for certain that there isn't some issue in the amplifiers of your Denon, although everything points to that not being the problem, because the noise reduced when you put that ground loop isolator on.
Yeah.
So it's you're picking up some interference. But just as a troubleshooting measure, you could try that just to see. And if connecting a new speaker wire right from the Denon, going through your theater away from all the walls to one of your surround speakers, you do that, and now it's silent, you go, I know it's the speaker wire inside the wall. At least you'll know then what the problem is. And you could perhaps go to the expense of rewiring or something to really
just so that we're clear here. What Rob is talking about is taking a new wire.
Yeah.
Taking the old wire off of the surround back, left speaker.
Yeah.
Off the back of your Denon, adding a new wire there, running that directly to that speaker, that exact same speaker. Though theoretically you could run it to any speaker, but this just makes sure that we're dealing with apples and apples here.
Yeah.
And go to that exact same speaker, and if you're not hearing a noise, it's someplace in the wire.
That's right.
If you still hear the noise, then then come talk to us again.
Yeah.
Anyways, he says it isn't really a problem since he can't hear any noise as soon as something starts playing, but there are. If there is silence during the soundtrack, he can pick out the noise from his surround speakers, so he's looking for a way to get complete silence. He was thinking maybe his Denon had the trim levels for his front speakers, since they're so sensitive, and the trim levels to his surrounds. Could that explain why his fronts are silent? But no, not really.
It's not the trim levels in the receiver. If this were a noise floor from the Denon amplifier issue, you'd be hearing a noise floor from all the speakers. You'd definitely be hearing it from the fronts. With your fronts being silent and your surrounds not, your surrounds for some reason are picking up some noise somewhere else in the system. So it's not a trim level issue. That wouldn't explain this.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@ avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.